I think. Good evening everyone and welcome along to League of Europe. We are here on F1 2021. It is the first lobby, I should say, of League of Europe coming forward. Season 6, Lobby 1, pre-season, round 1 here in for the Chinese Grand Prix. My name, of course, is James Hay, going to be taking through the stream as always. Gary, unfortunately, has not partaken to join me in the commentary box tonight, probably because he's too afraid that somebody might actually show his face on the stream. And joining me in the commentary box tonight, filling in for him, is Mr. Relentless Nolan. Nolan, how you doing?
I think it's the most ironic thing in the world that I've managed to replace Gary, which I think everyone will call an upgrade in every sense of the word.
It is an upgrade, I think, definitely. And I didn't want to try and make that Gary joke, so I've got it out the system before he joins me next week. And he should be back next week, of course, obviously all being well. And we are here tonight, of course, on F1 2021, so welcome along to the new interface, welcome along to the new stream as well on F1 2021, the first for League of Europe. Of course, we've got Division 3 and 4, Lobby 3 and Lobby 4, I think, running at the same time as us. At 6:30, a little bit earlier than normal, 6:40 of course being the normal time, 6:30 being the new time that we're going to be running the races this season, and then 8:10 as per usual for all of the rest of the races. Division 2, Division 5 and 6, if I'm not mistaken, are going to be running at that time. But we'll get really into the bag and bones, really, of what we're here for. It is, of course, Lobby 1, and to take you through the drivers, of course, what is here tonight. So, in Lobby 1, we have scheduled Justas, Montana, Verstappen, Campbell, Yul Melmat, M. Short, Connor, Yulbream, Alphatrix, and Alba. Rest of the 10 are Cantera, Rocco, Jensen, Neil, Leonard, Nuff, Nathan, Daniel, Wouter returning, and Izzat Kush is his full name. Izza is what I'm going to call him in terms of the commentary. Vaporizer, Matthias, Kuka Games and IFR Tom Robble are the 4 reserves, and I can see actually that Vaporizer was in the lobby, so he's actually replacing one of the drivers. I think that car maker might be Cantera, that car maker. But Nolan, we are here tonight, of course, for Lobby 1. This is usually the preemptor to Division 1, and with 2 former champions in Montana, the defending champion, 3-time champion here in League of Europe, and Alphatrix, the Season 3 champion, once again going to do battle, it makes for a fascinating night's worth of action. You can do indeed. Turns 1 and 2, of course, and then turn 3 is the snail section, as this track is most famously known for. And of course, right here at the Shanghai International Circuit, a 5.4 kilometers, 3.3 mile in length, 16 turns awaiting the drivers, and as Nolan mentioned, plenty of overtaking opportunities, 2 DRS zones, 1 down the start finish straight down in towards turn 1, 1 down in towards turn 14, and the long 1 kilometer straight down in towards turn 14 into that hairpin. Famously, of course, where I think it was Buemi or Alguersuari, one of the 2 Toro Rossos back in the day, actually lost both of their wheels, which was not the greatest thing you'll ever see in terms of commentary and in terms of qualifying. But hopefully we're going to be here for the great deal of things, and hopefully it's going to be fantastic to see out on track. And as I say, other streams are live alongside us as well, so if you want to tune in for them. But if you want to tune into the goated commentary of myself and Nolan, commentator of the season over here, thank you very much, we are getting into the action, of course. Blue skies and sunshine, exactly what we like to see. Oh, your voice can't be heard. Oh, yeah, I saw Montana's comment. Cocoms is barely hearable. Very quiet. It might be my sound, actually. I'll turn my sound down. If you give me a second, you'll probably just see My audio settings at this time. Yeah, master volume's on 10. No wonder they can't hear you. There we are. I've turned it down to 8. Hopefully you'll be able to hear that now. And we've got our first drivers, of course, coming out on track. Beautiful to see, actually. The new user interface. And the first man out on track is Relentless Nathan. And Nathan, of course, was the last man who actually won around the track here in China. Can he try and repeat that, or will his internet give way?
I think he'll probably end up qualifying well and then disconnect from the lobby after taking somebody's wing off, because that's what he does most of the time. So I hope that doesn't happen this time round.
I hope it doesn't happen this time round. Nathan, of course, is a very strong contender, I've got to say, for possibly being one of the drivers to watch this season. Of course, we've got 18 drivers here, not the full 20 as you'll be seeing in a couple of weeks' time for round 1 of the championship, of course, and I'll come onto the calendar at the end of the stream. But Nathan is one of those guys who, on his day, when he's consistent, he's quick, and when he's not consistent, it really drives him down, I think. And hopefully Nathan, I've been commentating on him actually on a Tuesday league. He drove very well in Bahrain early on in the week, and he'll be hoping that he can try and repeat that, of course, out on track tonight. Nathan, first man out on track. Vaporizer is the second man out on track. Both Williams is going very slow down the straight. We can see Nathan weaving down the straight, and yellow flags in sector 3. Don't worry about them. We're not on lap 0, by the way, but Nathan is now about to prepare for his lap around the Shanghai International Circuit. And let's see, as we ride on board then through the final corner, we'll see Nathan now running across the line. The DRS now enabled, running down the straight in towards the snail section of turns 1, 2 and 3. Hard on the brakes at the 50-metre board, and now actually turns the car in a little bit later than that, taking the wide out line to get that apex coming through turn 2 and then in towards turns number 3. So Nathan doing well so far, coming through the exit of turn 4 and then in towards turn 5 and 6. And this is where we see the first sector split, and this is where we see how quick he might be in terms of lap time. 23.6 through the first sector is not entirely too bad at all from Nathan. A little bit of snap of oversteer, a little bit of lag, I think, coming from him as well. His internet is already giving way by the looks as he now comes to the left-hander of turn 7 and then in towards turn number 8. Justas on the left-hand side, the Lithuanian, of course, race winner in Italy, I think, last season. Nathan catches the curve on the exit of turn 8 there, coming through turn 9 and 10. The very tricky double left-hander negotiates that well, and now comes in towards the second sector split to 50.8 through the middle sector. Second sector split, actually, is a little bit further up the track compared to the last game, so that's why Nathan is a 50.8, and he's got a very, very rear end there. Goodness me, how did he recover that? I do not know. Nathan now running down the straight, though, down in towards turn number 14, and I'll be hoping to try and get a very good lap time in here, but with that really, really bad back end that he has got, and a very unstable setup, this might be a 130 around that sort of lap time, I would imagine. So Nathan now comes in towards the final 2 corners, coming in towards turn 15 and 16, runs wide of the apex through 16, and then runs toward the line. And already I get a prediction right. A 130.9 is the lap. Vaporizer, though, with a 130 flat is 9/10 ahead of him. And that was purely because Nathan had an unstable setup. And there is the defending champion, Montana, 29.2. And we were discussing earlier on as Alvarez crashed actually coming out of turn 4. Montana, we were saying that these guys could get in towards the high 128. It's not entirely perceivable with Montana's lap time.
Well, I was just about to say, like, this lobby's not as fast as I thought it would be with 230s. I'm like, maybe I've got a chance at D1, you know? And then Montana comes across the line with a 0.2, which is probably better than any banker I've ever done in my life.
Connor's running towards the line in the McLaren. He goes second with a 29.3, so good lap time there by Connor. Of course, Stark, a little bit of controversy last season in Italy, if you remember. Crashing out, not on purpose, is what it was defined as, but he's still got a race ban because of his actions. He's second, though, and ahead of Verstappen currently. Isaac Cushion, new driver, in 4th position, and the Alpine Yildirim actually just gets him with a 29.5. And Yildirim actually did very well in Bahrain last season, towards the back end of last season. Yildirim, one of those guys to watch out for, the German. Looking further down the field, Leonard is on an invalid lap. Rocco's just gone 9th with 130 flat. I thought he was in Love Island, to be honest, and rather not appearing here in League of Europe. But Leonard's running across the line, doesn't get a lap time in. I don't think Rocco's going to be happy with that comment. There is a guy that sounds exactly like him in Love Island, that's all I'm saying.
He acts the same as well, you know. Rocco loves feet. That's all I've heard. I've heard Rocco loves feet, but that's just from the grapevine.
Goodness me, you can tell where this commentary is going to go tonight. Montana down at top corner in second, Verstappen in third. Justas, we just caught the end of his lap there, the Lithuanian, with a 29.7, and the Aston Martin goes ahead of Ruta, actually, and Ruta, formerly F1 Esports, of course, 29.9. How's he ended up in Relentless?
Well, we are the fastest growing, probably the best team in the whole league, in any league actually. And Izza joined us as well because we basically promised him Division 1 titles because NSX are kind of washed lately. So, as you can tell by the top 5 that they've got 3 people in it. But overall, I think he wanted a challenge. I don't think he wanted to go to a normal team. So he's come to a team full of special people. And he wants to join us.
Well, at the minute, he is obviously, well, I'm just trying to say, he's obviously ahead of Rocco, and Rocco, of course, was formerly Relentless, now with Excel. A little bit of inter-team rivalry, I think, going on between Division 1, between Relentless and Excel.
Traitor Rocco is what we will call him from now on, for the rest of the stream.
Definitely a trend. Alphatrix, by the way, is on the lap. I've been watching this lap, actually, and he's going to come through the final corner now. It's around Vaporizer sort of area. Yeah, 130.3. Alphatrix still on a pad, I believe. And the Alpha Tauri, now of course formerly known as Toro Rosso, Alphatrix goes 12th at 130.3. And normally China, I would say, is more of a pad-heavy track than is a wheel. But Montana, Connor and Verstappen, who are all on wheels, first, second and third.
Yeah, I think in previous years it has really been a pad track. I think Codemasters have tried their best to level it out a bit. There's a little bit of a smaller gap between the wheel and the pad at the moment. I think ABS is actually the thing that's going to be the big argument this season. When is it not? And obviously Montana, a famous user of the ABS assist.
Have you just thrown a bit of shade towards Montana, our defending champion?
I mean, I use Autogears and ABS, so I can't say anything. But I'm looking at Jensen. He's the only person that's gone out on the mediums. I'm not sure if he's going to stick to that or go to softs later on. But if you look at the sector times, the mediums, even though I did invalidate, seem to be really far off the pace. They don't even, if you're going to go for say P11 to get the advantage, what you could think is the advantage in the medium to hard, they're not looking like the best tyre to qualify on.
Yeah, I think in terms of the mediums, it's somewhere around 1.2, 1.3 seconds, I think, where the mediums actually are slower than the set of softs around here in China. That's what it was on the last game. I'm not sure what it's like. I haven't commentated around here before at China on this game, certainly. But Jensen will be hoping to try and make an impact. He is the defending FRL champion, which I commentate on a Tuesday night. He's the defending champion there. He's a very quick driver. Obviously joined IFR in the season as well. And without Zhao Zhao here, and without Tom Robbo here tonight as well, Jensen is the only IFR hope tonight. And hopefully, he's going to be trying to fill in for a big man shoes like Zhao Zhao.
Yeah, it's an interesting one actually, because obviously we've only seen one person go for the mediums, but at China you tend to find there'll be a lot of people, I'd assume anyway, that'll be aiming for that P11, which could be the secret P1, because obviously you can go for the medium to hard or the hard to mediums, which in previous years has tended to be quite a much better strategy actually than going for the softs to hard.
Yeah, it is a very tyre heavy track around here as well in China. We're halfway through qualifying. It's Montana who leads, Connor in second, Verstappen in third in terms of qualifying. Of course, who are your predictions in the comment section? Let us know, of course, by commenting in the YouTube chat. If you are having this on a double stream, by the way, Division 3 and 4, as Connor has retired at the final corner. I think it was on his outlap. That corner has retired. There's an Alpha Tauri, there's an Alfa Romeo, in fact, coming through the final corner, and that's Montana, so we'll see where he's gone off. There's Montana through the final corner. And I think he's got caught on the outside curb and spun it into the wall because his left tyre is off, and Connor will not be improving ahead of second. So this gives Verstappen, Yildirim, Izza, and the rest a big chance to probably get their way up the field.
Yeah, it's a dangerous corner, the last corner, because if you want, especially in qualifying, if you want to get your best possible time, you have to just get full commit to it. Obviously in the race, you're not going to be doing that because it's kind of like a hit or miss. You can hit it the exact same way a few times, and one time it's going to send you into the wall.
I thought you were going to say something else there.
No,
Jensen's on a lap. He's coming down in towards turn 14 at the minute. Pease, by the way, in the comment section has said Wuta for pole. Rooster for Paul, 29.9 he's currently on. Montana on a 29.2. I don't see it personally, but I'm not going to throw any relentless bias towards Nolan's way. I know, Jensen through the final corner though. He's running now toward the line. I tell you what, a 131 flat on a set of mediums, 1.8 seconds off the pace. I think he just backed off that lap slightly. But Jensen, there or thereabouts, I think, and if he goes quicker, he should be around, I would say, Yul Matt Daniels sort of area, I think.
Yeah, it's not a bad lap. The only thing I think at this point is, I think it's safe to go out on the softs and maybe pull out from your lap a bit, see if you can get around 11th or 12th, because at the moment, the mediums, you're not going to benefit too much, because you're probably going to start near the back anyway.
Yeah, you probably are. Leonard's on a lap in the Ferrari. He's coming in through the final corner now. Montana with a 28.8, but what's Leonard doing? That's a 29.5, a good lap from Leonard. But Montana, a 28.8. It's not time trial. This is online, for goodness sake. It's Montana, 28.8. And he's 5 tenths ahead of everyone else. We may as well just give him the title now.
That's faster than my TT time. That's ridiculous. The thing is, that is a good lap from Justas, and it's going to look like it's not because of what Montana's just done. But a 29.3 is a really good lap time to get, especially in multiplayer.
I think Verstappen's made a mistake on his lap. He's a second down coming through the middle sector. Daniel improved with a 29.5, so good lap there from Daniel. He improved 10th and a quarter up to 6th. Leonard there in 7th. Izza is on a lap. He's running down in the Alpine in towards turn number 14. Yilbream also on a lap, I believe, coming through the middle sector. But Izza now, P9 currently, 29.6 is his time. He's got Vaporizer 100 behind him out on track. But Izza through the final corner, runs wide, and that's an invalidation out of the final corner. It would have been in 29.4, and it would have put him actually into 4th.
Yeah, I actually thought he backed out with the last corner a little bit there. He went a little bit wide into the entry, and I thought he wasn't going to commit as much. But it actually seems to cost him. He might have been better just throwing himself into the corner and hoping for the best.
Ruta goes 8th as well, 29.6, good improvement from him. Currently not going to be on pole position, I don't think, with Montana's lap time. With 5.5 minutes to go, it is Montana with a 28.8. 5 tenths of a second, yes, I'll repeat that, 5 tenths of a second ahead of Justas in second, Connor in third. Neil, by the way, Campbell mentioned in the comments section, Neil to surprise on pole, 1 run and show them up at the end. Neil, though, I don't think he's on a good lap here, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's actually backed off this.
Yeah, Nathan's retired as well, and I don't know, I didn't see whether he'd crashed out or not, but if that's by accident, I think, he's just put in the chat now, it's a snap of oversteer. So that's not going to work out the best for him, because obviously a 30.9 in this lobby anyway is not going to get him anywhere. But Alpha Tricks, I'm just going to cut for a moment because he's coming around the last cut. Oh, he's lost it. Never mind.
I think he might still improve, actually. It's a 29.9. He barely breaks the timing beam with that. But if he doesn't lose it, he probably would have been on, what, 29.5, 29.6 region?
Yeah, he lost a lot of time. I think he almost just gave up on the lap there and then realised he's probably going to have to put a lap in anyway. But ironically enough, a 29.9 in 13th, if the session ended now, that would be a very good position to start in.
It would be, of course, because it is very high tyre wear around here at China. Yul Melmath is on a lap. I don't think he's actually on a physical improvement in terms of this. Yeah, it's 1.1 seconds down coming through the end of the middle sector. Jensen is back out there, by the way, in the McLaren, in the IFR team, and again on mediums. Yeah, quite an interesting strategy. But I wonder if he's actually trying to do a little bit of practice here, because he needed to lose that actually coming out of turn 7, so he definitely needs the practice. As Connor has left the session, his disconnects are happening once again on the new game, it seems. So Connor disconnecting. Hopefully he'll rejoin with about 4 minutes to go in the session. Jensen, though, 131 flat on a set of medium compound tyres. I can only think he's probably trying to do a little bit of practice to see how much the tyres actually degrade per lap.
Yeah, I get that to an extent, but you wouldn't want to wear out your tyres. I know you do get another set of mediums, but surely you'd want to start higher up. Even if he improves, like the next lap time above him, apart from Nathan, obviously, who's out, is 7 tenths away. He's not going to gain that on the medium, so it just seems like a bit of a pointless lap, as opposed to maybe just what you were saying, and he plans on starting for the mediums. But I personally would want to qualify in the softs, try to start a bit higher up outside the top 10, which I think he might be doing now, actually, as he's coming in.
There's your answer. Yeah, he's coming into the pit lane 3 minutes ago. It's going to be quite tight, I think, the turnaround. I think he should be fine. But Jensen might have just misjudged this a little bit slightly because, of course, it takes a little bit longer. The McLaren pit lane is actually further up in terms of where they're located. They're third, where the Red Bull garage is basically now. They were further down, of course, on the old game. And that's purely because they did very well in the real-life championship. Jensen there, 16th though, the 131 flat. Yildirim on an outlap, Verstappen, Leonard and Vaporize. I'm just trying to see who was furthest on. I think it's Leonard who was furthest on a lap in the Ferrari. He's got Yildirim behind him, out on track. 29.5. He is a tenth and a half basically off Yildirim and 2/10 off Connor. So can he find those 2/10 of a second to try and trouble Justas and Connor for second?
It's going to be really close at the top now. I think first we'll give it to Montana. I can't see anyone else getting that gap now. I think the true battle is going to be for second, and with Connor having that early DNF, it's up for grabs really to start a bit higher up. I think anyone from Yildirim down to maybe probably Wuta would be looking at getting third, fourth place maybe.
Yeah, we'll be looking at, but it is so tight. Between what, second down to third, well, second down to 12th is actually covered by 3.5 tenths per second, so it's going to be so difficult. It's going to be those minute margins that we like to talk about here in Lobby 1 and Division 1. It is those minute margins that are going to be the difference between winning and losing, and certainly in terms of getting, well, second to third, I would say, because Montana is just absolutely exploded his way with a 28.8 onto the scene. A 10th up, by the way, from Leonard through the first sector. He's on the exit of turn 6 and in towards turn 7. We'll ride on board with him now as he now comes through turn 7. Don't want to catch the curbs on these games. The curbs are absolutely deadly. They are flatter, actually, on this track compared to last time. You've just seen something?
I saw Alpha Tricks just came onto the track. I didn't realise that there was a little part that you can cut the corner there. Trying to obviously start his lap time early.
Ooh, Leonard's 3/10 up on this lap. This is actually looking quite quick. If he nails this final sector, this will be a 28, I think. So Leonard on a very good lap here. He's showing a lot of pace on his debut. I believe it's his debut, certainly. I don't want to make the same mistake as I did last season when we came for the pre-season races. Leonard, though, on the run down in towards turn number 14. He's got Wuta passing him. Izzer off to the right-hand side as well, and Leonard's got a free track ahead of him, so breaks into the braking zone at the 100-metre board through turn 14, gets the car turned in, now through the kink of 15, he's got a car ahead of him out on track, that's Daniel, and he's coming across on the racing line. Leonard, I think, is still going to try and improve on this though. Leonard round the final corner, runs the line, and that totally screwed up his lap. Leonard, Daniel, I'm not sure what he was thinking. I'm not sure if he had wing mirrors maybe in that Red Bull, but he's 6th position. Leonard will not be happy whatsoever.
Leonard's going to be fuming. He was definitely, unless he did an absolute massive mistake in the last corner, he was going to improve that time, and that looked like it was potentially even going to be a third place maybe.
To be fair though, Daniel actually is a 10th down to the first sector, and look who's behind him. Look who is behind him out on track. Wuta and Izzer are behind him. Izzer's on a lap. He's a 10th down himself through the first sector. It's almost as if they're racing in qualifying. It's not sprint qualifying, for goodness sake. We are nearly at the end of qualifying, by the way. It is Montana out on top. Verstappen, however, went second with the 29 flat.
Yeah, this could either really hurt Izzer or really benefit him, because he's probably going to get some slipstream up this back straight. So it depends how much Daniel holds him up, because if he can get the slipstream, this could really, really improve his lap, actually.
Yeah, probably can improve his lap. And looking through, Justas, I'm right on board with at the minute. He's third, but he is up in the middle sector, now getting out the way of his Alfa Romeo, I think, of Montana. I think that might have been.
Sorry to quick there. I can see Izzer's actually giving Wuta some slipstream. So obviously his lap was ruined by Daniel, and he's decided to help out Wuta, which obviously they're both in Relentless and in the Alpine team today. So Wuta could be on for a really good lap time at the moment if he can nail the last corner.
Run on board with him through the final corner. Wuta to the line. Is he going to beat Montana to the line? Oh, he was close. 29 point. Well, not close. 29.2. In the end, he goes 4th. Neo went 5th as well. Yildirim was not on a lap. He invalidated, I think. Rocco was not on a lap either. Leonard not on a lap. Alpha Tricks has spun through the final corner. So that's the end of qualifying. And it's Montana out on top. Who else? Verstappen in second. Justas third. Wuta 4th. And Neo rounding off the top 5.
Look at the times at the start. If we ignore Montana because he's in Division 0.5, if we look lower than that, look how close the grid is at the front. They're all ridiculous times.
Less than 0.6 of a second, covering 2nd to 13th, I make that as. Verstappen with a 29 flat down to Izza on a 29.6. And Alphatrix on a pad, very disappointing, I've got to say, 29.9. He'd be hoping to try and get his pace up towards the top end of Division 1. But Montana out on top, as I say, who else? Verstappen in second, Justas in third, Reuter in fourth. Looking down the field, any surprises in terms of performance? I think Nuth could have done a better job down in, with a 130.3. Well, otherwise, I'm not really surprised, apart from Alphatrix.
No, I tell you what, Leonard at first will be angry at what happened, but when you look at where he is now, Daniel may have accidentally just done him an absolute favour, because he is in probably P2 if you think about it. The way that the one stop works around here with the medium to hards, those softs are dead after 3 laps.
Yeah, Leonard will be hoping, obviously, these are pre-season races. I don't think he'll probably put in a report to the stewards. But if this was round 1 of the championship, it would be. But Montana is out on top. Luckily, not a Gary Donegan lookalike, I've got to be honest. Montana's out on top, Verstappen in second, Justas in third, Reuter in fourth, with Neo rounding off the top 5. Connor in sixth, with Yulmel Matt in seventh. Look how close them two are. 1600ths of a second covering. Yildirim in 8th, Daniel in 9th, and Vaporizer round off the top 10. Leonard in 11th, disappointing, but he could have gone a hell of a lot quicker. Excel Rocco in 12th, Izza in 13th, Alphatrix in 14th, Jensen in 15th. He actually qualified on a set of soft compound tyres as opposed to a set of mediums. Nuthbear in 16th, Nathan all the way down in 17th, you like to see that, and Alba crashed out the session very on, indeed didn't get a lap time in, and he starts right from the back of the field.
Yeah, overall, I think we can see the consistent fast drivers from the last game have picked up this game the same. They're starting at the front, same as they did last time. There's a few mix-ups in the middle. Izza, I've seen him in practice, obviously. We've been practicing. I've seen him do a lot better than that. I think he knows he could have got a better time. But at the same time, we don't know what he could have been on that lap with Dan. And obviously, he's sacrificed his lap to help Wouter out. Wouter, one of the two. I should know that, but I don't.
Don't worry, I am the king of mispronunciations here in the commentary box, so that makes 2 of us. That honestly makes 2 of us. But we are here, of course, here in Shanghai, and for the Chinese Grand Prix, as I say, 5.4 kilometers and then 3.3 miles. Those two DRS, Nolan, are gonna. Those two DRS zones, Nolan, I should say, are going to be very key overtaking areas.
Yeah, I think actually, if you look outside the top 10, Traitor Rocco, he's one to look out for, because every single season that I've seen him in, every race I've seen him in, his qualifying is okay, but when it comes to the actual event, he's really good at racing, like picking up positions, and we all know the famous Rocco trains that tend to happen, and last year's China, there was a massive Rocco train, and I won't be surprised if he manages to pull out a really good position just based off doing what he does every race and holding everybody up by being really slow.
Yeah, let's hope Rocco can actually produce a really good performance. He's down in 12th position. He's got the likes of Alphatrix and Jensen, and behind him Nathan as well, going to be in that Rocco train. It's not an extensive Rocco train to an extent. He's starting outside the top 10, so he gets to choose his free choice of tyre. And speaking of the tyre, let's see what everyone is on. Alba going for a set of soft compound tyres down in 18th position. Clearly feels like there's something might be underneath this. I think we're on clear weather, if I'm not mistaken, throughout this session, so there shouldn't be any rain. But a set of soft compound tyre against everyone ahead of him on a set of mediums and hards, theoretically, he should be carving his way through the field like a knife through butter.
Yeah, I'm surprised by that, though, because of how fast the softs die. I've seen in practice sessions, the mediums are the same pace by lap 3, so he has to really do something. I think the most dangerous person here, personally, is probably going to be Izza, because he's on the hard tyre. If he can avoid an incident, the hard to medium strategy is going to be really good. I think we could find him really making up places if he can stick with the 2 medium runners in front of him.
Yeah, he's got Landon Rocco obviously ahead of him, and Izza will be hoping he can hop on board that Rocco train, I think, to try and carry him further into the race as expected. We should be seeing soft compound tyres. Lap 6, lap 7, I think, is where I'm going to bank on the guys pitting in for a set of softs. They can then make, I think, 20 laps maybe on a set of hards, but it is very hard to do around this track. But you never know in terms of the tyre weather. The tyre weather I tend to notice on this game, there's a McLaren gone spinning off, by the way, in the background. That was Jensen, I think, in the background. He's gone spinning off. I saw that, and he's leading into the gravel, and that will not do him justice coming out through turn 13. He is running no ABS, which is credit where credit's due, but I saw that spin, and it didn't make for good viewing for anyone.
Yeah, it's not going to help him, especially with the tyre wear on this track and the tyre temperatures. I think he's going to be very happy. Well, he's even worse, actually, because he's back of the grid, so he's not going to get too long for his tyres to actually cool down a bit.
Yeah, everyone's tyres,
of course. Excuse Connor and Yulmat.
Yeah, Connor and Neil Melmac getting disqualified on the formation lap. Nolan, I'm going to come across to you, though. Who's your top 3?
I'm going to be really boring. I'm going to go Montana to get the win. I'm going to go for Izza to get second. And third, I'm going to go for Verstappen. I think Montana is a Verstappen.
Montana is a Verstappen top 3. We'll have to see if that, of course, pans out as the camera pans out and the 5 red lights are going to get going here in China at the Shanghai International Circuit. They are coming on now in the gantry. 5 red lights going out, and we're about to get underway. Long hold, but it's lights and away we go. Montana gets a very good stop. Verstappen responds well, and look at the stop from Justas. Justas already up to second, passing Verstappen on the run in towards turn 1, and it's Montana who leads. Justas tries to linger down the inside. The Lithuanian on the Swiss, former NSX teammates, of course. Justas now formerly part of the team, and Justas tries to go all the way around the outside of turn 3. Still on board with Montana, who holds the lead of the race, coming through 4. There's a spin on the inside, and that's Neil that's round. Neil was round through the inside. There was 3 wide. He spun by himself. No contact involved. Montana leads the way though. Justas second, Verstappen in third, Connor in fourth. Looking further down the field, Alba's already up to 11th. Really good start from Alba. Dropping down the field, Nilf I think got caught up in a slight incident now with Izza, and he's dropping down the field into 15th. But a really good start and a very, very limited contact up and down the field. Montana leads the way. Justas second, Verstappen in third, halfway through the lap.
Yeah, I was actually on board, crazy enough, with Neo there, and he just touched the inside curve coming out of turn 3, tried to put the power down too early and just span it himself. And a few cars actually tried to avoid that. I'm not sure if they knew ghosting or anything, but Alba took advantage and on them softs as well, soared through the field. And it actually looks like, beyond from what I said, the softs at the start has really worked out for him.
Yeah, the softs and the hards were on board with him, actually, Alba, and actually Neo was spun once again, I believe. Coming through turn 13 and 14, I should say, actually, coming through turns 11 and 12. Here is Alba down the inside line on Rocco, down the inside line, gets the move done. So the Mercedes passes the Red Bull. Often you see that in Formula 1 these days. Well, you do. Alba on top. Actually, Yul Melmat's into the pit lane. Has he got damage? Yes. Right side end plate damage on the car for Yul Melmat. Connor's dropping down the field. That is because of a graphics glitch. We're not on lap 3, it's lap 2. Montana leads the way. Justas in second. Connor well up there in the field as well. Verstappen currently in third. Hanging on with Connor in fourth.
Ooh, and Krufer's gone as well now. He's done the same thing. He's touched the inside curb onto turn 1. And you just can't touch the curbs at this point in the game. Most of the curbs, they're going to send you flying.
Daniel's under pressure from Yulbreen further down the field. The Ferrari hangs on to what is 11th position, I think. And that was Wouter. Was that Wouter coming down the inside? Or did he lose it? And actually, speaking of losing it, Yulbreem's on the wall nearly. He actually recovers it on track. And Yulbreem just about keeps it at the wall. He kept it at the grass and he spun. And he's going to spin into the car's way if he's not careful. And Yulbreem has spun. And that is why Yulbreem gets onto the grass and he spins his car. And he's now down right at the back of the field. Apart from Yul Melmat and Leonard and Neo who came into the pits. He's down in 15th now is Yulbreem. But up front, Montana leads the way to second over Justas in second. Verstappen in third. Connor in fourth. And that's a pretty good pit stop.
Justas
has lost it.
He spun it. Yeah, he just lost traction coming out of the corner there up to the straight. I think there's a little bump on the inside and it can send you sideways. Sometimes it's safer just to go on the outside of the corner and lose a few tenths.
And that is unfortunate for Justas, running in such a strong position and second position, now all the way down into 13th position, unlucky for some, and he'd be hoping that there would be a safety car. Of course, no safety cars on in these lobbies. Montana sets the new fastest lap of the race. He's got a 1.2 second lead over Verstappen, but with Verstappen now in the clear air, he can now begin to pull that gap down maybe to the back of Montana if he has got the pace. Vaporizer was on the back of Alba. That is complete and there's a graphic glitch to the left hand side. However, it's Rocco trying to challenge Vaporizer. Those mediums have got a lot of pace compared to Vaporizer softs.
Yeah, they're going to start to kick in now. This is the crossover. This is how fast the softs start to die down. And I can tell you what isn't a graphics glitch. Alba has made 12 positions and is in 6th place from starting last, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Absolutely unbelievable. Fortunate, I think, with a couple of spins, with Neo obviously spinning on the inside curve, and then we had Justas spin coming out of turn 13. Very fortunate, I think, for Alba to be up in 6th position. But I tell you what, Alba could be the man to watch out for in this race. He's on a set of soft compound tyres. He's on fresher softs, of course, compared to Daniel ahead. Daniel, of course, won, and he's now joined the VRT team, was formerly LR, and Nathan spun.
Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, Alba right on the back of Daniel, and I tell you what, it's right on the back of him. He could try and get the move done. I think Connor is getting close to the back of Verstappen here as well. On board with the McLaren, looks for the inside line. I think that this should be Connor's move. Down the inside line, he goes in towards turn 14, gets the move done, and Alba could not pass Daniel on the run down in towards turn 14 either. So Connor is through on Verstappen. Alba, though, still in P6, off the back of Daniel, and maybe just overheating his tyres slightly because he's lost a little bit of time.
Yeah, I think we're starting to see there's kind of two sides of the coin with setups that you can go for here. You can either go for really high wings, and in Sector 1 and 2 you're going to obviously really benefit. Well, if you can manage it in Sector 1 and 2 and go for slightly lower wings, you can see with DRS especially and Slipstream, that final straight, so much time can be gained both attacking and defending.
Really can. Lap 4 out of 28, and it's Montana who leads the way. Connor in second, Verstappen in third. NSX dominating Division 1 once again, it seems, in Lobby 1 early on. But you never know, anything can happen. Vaporizer, actually, another NSX driver, just ran wide, coming through turn 6 on the braking zone in towards turn 6. And Rocco now all over the back of him. The XL man, formerly of Relentless, of course. I am going to keep saying that during commentary, don't worry.
Traitor Rocco.
Oh, Traitor Rocco on the back of Vaporizer, 7th and 8th currently, but Rocco has got a lot of pace, regardless of him being a traitor or not. He's got a lot of pace compared to Vaporizer on that set of medium compounded tyres, and he'll be hoping to try and get past sooner rather than later, because Vaporizer, of course, is 2.3 seconds and out of the DRS to Alba.
And more importantly, Alpha has lost Izza in the DRS, but he's also right behind Rocco on the hard tyres as well. So if he can just kind of sit there and follow Rocco around, he could be looking at a really good spot towards the end of the race. He'll be on the mediums.
We missed Rocco's overtake. That wasn't intentional, because I'm watching the battle for 4th, actually. Alba down the inside on Daniel. There was a little bit of touching, I think. I think Daniel might have just ran into the back of Ruta, and Alba's not going to go for the outside move in towards turn 16, is he? No, he backs off, and Daniel was there, the VRT man, of course, formerly of Leonis Racing. He took his win, of course, in Austria in round 1 of the championship last season, in season 5. But Daniel on the back of Ruta, F1 Esports against a potential F1 Esports star, and Ruta will be hoping to try and defend off these guys.
Yeah, something to look out for will be, look at the soft runners ERS compared to the medium and hard runners. They're having to use it a lot more to stay in the pace. Whereas if you look further down the field, a lot of people sitting in the 50s, 60s compared to the 20s at the front.
Yeah, I mean, look at Rocco. 2.2 seconds, obviously overtaken Vaporizer. He's now 8/10 ahead of Vaporizer. He's got 41% of ERS, 56% for Vaporizer, albeit, but ahead of him, Alba, 32%. And actually, Alba looks for the move down in towards turn 9 and 10. Doesn't get the move done. He's just warning the Red Bull driver that he's there. As Connor has spun, coming out of turn 10 and is off into the wall. Leonard has retired in the pit lane as well, but Connor has spun. That's halfway down the straight where he spun that. I have a feeling he's got caught in the outside curb. He's trying to recover the car left, and into the wall.
Yeah, these softs now, you're really starting to see that they're not just losing pace, they're losing traction, and once you spin it once, it is so hard to get the temperature back in those tyres, and it won't surprise me if we see him pit now for a set of hards.
Here comes Alba down the inside line on Daniel, tries to get the move done. Daniel again late on the brakes, locks up slightly, but Alba down the inside line puts the nose in, and actually Daniel gets caught on him, and Alba's through. So Alba gets the move done. No problem with that, I don't think. He's into the pit lane as well. Nearly overcooks it. Luckily doesn't run into the gravel like Hamilton 2007-esque. Alphatrix, however, has made a move, I think it was on Izza, if I'm not mistaken. Alphatrix is through and he's into 4th. Rocco now 3rd, and all of these guys, Montana and Daniel still continuing on that set of soft stills. They clearly feel they've got those tyres at least a little bit fresher compared to the likes of Vaporizer and Verstappen coming into the pit lane.
Yeah, I say the next few laps are the most important laps of the race at the moment, because the soft runners you'd have to think are going to come in now. Montana and Daniel, you think they're going to come in. This is all down on how fast Rocco and Alphatrix can drive.
Oh!
I don't think they're going to fight it. What's going on?
Ruta and Alba are side by side nearly coming out the pit lane, coming out of turn 3 and 4, and Ruta is ahead of Alba. If I'm not mistaken, Ruta is ahead of Alba, and he's into P10. coming out the pit lane. They were side by side on the exit of 2, through to turn 3 at the end of the snail section, and Albert in behind Rooter, still P10.
Well, that's the relentless better than NSX. That's just the way it is. That little boost that you get, you see, when you join the team, you get that little motivation, the little the Javel dance of motivation, and that's what's helped that.
Well, I've got Justas, of course, a former NSX member in behind, so I wonder if he's going to try and team with one of these guys, maybe out on track. Hopefully the former rather than the latter and Rooter compared to Albert. But Justas in behind, P12 at the minute. Albert, though, on the back of Rooter, and he'd be hoping to try and get this overtake done. Montano's into the pit lane from the lead of the race, and Albert spun! Albert has spun, cold, hard tyres, spins, coming through turn 13, and that is him, man, and that is him now out of contention.
NSX are falling like flies at the moment, and we've seen 3 of them do it at the same place. It's the bump on the inside. You can gain a lot of time by doing it, but you do risk spinning, which a lot of people have done. And this is how people have climbed up the field, and I thought Albert would have thought better of that, as he's gained a lot of positions from other people doing that mistake.
I'll tell this now, by the way, Montana has won, because he's miles ahead of Verstappen coming out the pit lane. 2.3 seconds is the gap coming out the pit. Daniel, Rooter, Justas, and Joel Melmat, I think, and Daniel getting very close to the exit of the pit lane there. Albert's got a 3-second time penalty on the exit of the final corner. That's the first one of the night. Daniel, though, on the back of Joel Melmat. That was very, very close for my liking, if I've got to be honest.
That was extremely close. I thought we were going to see Daniel's wing go flying. I'm looking further up the field, though, and I'm thinking drivers like Rooter and Justas, well, probably Rooter and Montana and Verstappen, they're in the clear now, because they've got no one to fight. They've just got to put the laps out, because, especially Wouter, for instance, he's racing Rocco and Alphatrix now.
Joel Melmat, I think, either got forced off track there by Daniel. He's lost the position, took an excursion onto the grass, it seems. Joel Melmat down to 12th. Daniel up into 11th position. They were quite close for comfort. Albert has spun once again, by the way, through the S section, coming through turn 7. So Albert now further down the field into 15th position. He'd be soon 16th, and now right down the back of the field, going, it seems, for the NSX Wooden Spoon here tonight in Lobby 1. But we're a quarter of the way through. Rocco leading the way, Alphatrix in second, Izza in third, Jensen in fourth. Nathan, by the way, I'm surprised with his pace now. Nathan is picking up the pace. He's on the back of Nuff, and this is not what I like to see. I'm part of TTG, he's part of Relentless. Game on.
Well, Nathan, obviously, like I said, that Javel dance motivation is probably going to help him in this situation. They're racing each other. I think the mediums.
Here's Justas down the inside line of Rooter. Down the inside line he goes, and Rooter's back down the inside line in towards turn 2. There's a great battle between them both. Will the Alpine still hang sway on the outside line? He will, but Justas is there on the inside line. Tries to get the move done. He does get the move done, and Rooter is now back behind Justas, and Justas is through, but Rooter not giving this up without a fight. No ERS enabled, and he's just going to sit him behind for now, but Justas is through and he's into 9th.
Yeah, it's going to be so frustrating as well, because I'm not quite sure what Justas' strategy is on the softs at the moment. Wouter, I don't think he wants to be losing time fighting. He just wants to be racing Rocco and Alphatrix, who are obviously on a different strategy. But if they can just race in clean air and he's fighting people, he's going to come out behind them.
Yeah, he will come out behind them. Alphatrix is on the back of Rocco as well. Quite an interesting battle this is. Sparks flying from the back of the Red Bull. You can see how low the downforce setup he actually has with the sparks coming off the back of the car. And Alphatrix now right on the back of the Red Bull. Red Bull against AlphaTauri, the two sister cars and the two sister teams about to do battle here in China as they come through the final corner of turn 16 once again. Onto lap 9 we go. Alphatrix is going to have a fancy, I think, maybe down in towards turns 2 and 3. He's just going to warn Rocco that he's there, and Alphatrix closes up right into the rear wing of the back of the Red Bull. But the Red Bull hangs tough and hangs sway and currently leads the way. Alphatrix in second, Izza in third. Izza in a bit of no man's land at this stage. Jensen is even catching him, I think. 2.3 seconds now, the gap. And Izza just in a bit of no man's land. He's stuck between a rock and a hard place, really, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. I think he just has to get on, hope these two start scrapping a bit. And for Alphatrix, this is a really important part of the race, because we're reaching that window where the hards start to become better than the mediums. And he has to get past Rocco without losing time.
Yeah, it's around lap 11, lap 12, I think we'll begin to see the crossover period between the hards and the mediums, so I would imagine that's probably going to come up sooner rather than later, obviously being on the new game, and obviously being more tyre wear on this track. We're just not giving up entirely on the back of Justas, by the way. They've got Daniel and Yul Milmat and Vaporizer catching him behind, but Ruta P10 for now, strong showing at the minute. He's behind Justas, and surely he's going to be getting Justas here. There's a yellow flag in Sector 2, and it is Vaporizer that is round, I think.
Oh, and Alpha's going to go for the move. He's got a lot more ERS than Rocco. He's up the inside, and it's quite an easy move, really. He's going to tuck it in front of him, and Rocco's a smart driver. He won't fight him. He just wants to sit on the back of him now.
And here comes Nathan on the back of Nuth, and this is what you like to see, relentless passing TTG. Nathan cuts onto the inside line and doesn't give Nuth any room whatsoever at all. Alphatrix, though, was spun through the final corner. Alphatrix is into the wall, lost his front wing entirely on the outside curve through the final corner. And he got that move done on Rocco. He now no longer gets the move done. He's off again. He's spun once again. He might have suspension damage as well on the car. Vaporizer disconnected from the session. And now he has joined the party once again. And Justas now on the back of Ruta. And Ruta's going to be catching Alphatrix very, very quickly here. Luckily for Alphatrix, he's going to be ahead and actually lets the guys through. That's very fair of Alphatrix, I think. Doesn't want to get embroiled into a big battle with all of these guys around. Ruta into P8, Justas into P9, Daniel into P10. Yul Milmat's trying to go around the outside and switch to the inside line. A bit of bumper cars going on between them both, and now the VRT guy and the QVR man trying to fight all the way down in towards turn number 6. But Daniel's going to come out on top and remain in P10. But for Alphatrix, really disappointing qualifying session from his standards, and now even a more disappointing race.
Yeah, I think Montana's going to be very happy safety cars are not on for this race, because Rocco would have been loving life then. A lot of people making a mistake, a lot of people, and it just shows that you can have all the pace, but some drivers, if you just take it patiently, you're going to benefit from other people costing themselves.
Yeah, we're still quite early on to the game cycle as well. What, we're 2-3 weeks nearly in now to the game cycle, and you would imagine that these guys would have some control of their cars by now, but it's just how difficult the new damage model and the new handling model actually is on this game, and that is why we're seeing so many spins. I've literally not seen well, I have seen a spin in every single commentary I've done on this game so far, and I'm not kidding at all, because it is just because of that handling model that really costs the guys, and the new setups as well, really cost the guys, and unfortunately we see spins.
Yeah, I think as well, there's a lot more bumps in the track. I've noticed it on the inside going up to the back straight at China. There's a bump on the inside, and it's the faster line, and a lot of people are risking it, and I'm not sure why.
Well, it's a bit like Japan, to be honest. Remember that bump? They got rid of it in the old game. Justas, by the way, into the pit lane. He's onto a set of medium compounded tyres. Well down the field will be Justas. And Fulham remains at Alphatrix, of course, with that broken front wing. I think Justas is going to be ahead of Neo here, if I'm not mistaken. Neo's coming across the start-finish line now. And yeah, Justas is going to be ahead of his Aston Martin teammate. So Justas ahead of Neo at this stage. Of course, these guys are running first-come, first-served bases in terms of their cars. So what you're seeing tonight, probably not the finalised cars, probably not the finalised teams either, and definitely not the finalised commentary team. Rocco out on top, Izza in second, Jensen in third, Nathan in fourth, Nuth in fifth. I swear I haven't done you dirty like that whatsoever. Nathan really struggling with his connection to teams. Nuth's right on the back of him, and then they've got a charging Montana and a charging Verstappen in behind.
Yeah, and I'm currently looking at Rocco. I've just been looking at his sector times. He is still doing mid to low 34s on those mediums. He's not losing pace, and actually since Alpha's gone, he's gaining time.
Oh, I thought
as he comes into the pits now.
Yeah, Rocco's into the pit lane, and I thought Nuth was going to go into the back of Nathan there. That's why I was just circumventing in the background. Nuth under pressure though for Montana. Look at Montana, look at the ERS he's got. 12%, 13% now ERS. He's through on Nuth, easily does it. Montana is through, and he's going to get 2 for 1 here. Nathan's wide, coming through turn 1, now through turn 2. Nathan on the inside line, and Rocco was out of the pit lane, just in behind. I think Yul Milmat, he's going to be ahead of him. So Yul Milmat in 9th, Rocco in 10th. Montana, though, not giving up a fight here on the back of Nathan. Nathan, I think, is going to be dummied here. Down the inside line goes Montana, and that is the mistake that he will be wanting to make. And Nathan somehow hangs tough and still keeps position.
You didn't expect that one. You thought the move were done and dusted there. Not our boy Nathan's going to hold him up. Not sure why, he's on a different strategy, but same thing.
But goodness me, Montana, 4th position, Nathan in 3rd, and Nuff not entirely out of this either. Verstappen's obviously catching him behind, but Montana now in a little bit of dirty air. He's got Nathan ahead of him, Verstappen. Oh, and now Jensen spun down on the inside line there, coming through 10 and 11. He spun on the outside curb, I think. And Jensen now has spun, and he's all the way down in P6. And Montana nearly goes wide as well. My goodness me, he was wide coming out of turn 13. Jensen now losing further positions. Further down the field, he goes down into 10th, 11th position, that might be. Montana, though, on the back of Nathan. Not going to launch it from that far back, and Nathan hangs tough, and he still stays in P2. And if he keeps his tyres going, could he do a one-stop on set of softs?
It is possible, yeah. The only thing is, if he wants to do that, he has to not fight Montana. Montana's already pitted. They're in a completely different race as they're drawing S's down the straight there, trying to avoid slipstream.
Nathan channeling his inner Fernando Alonso, I think, from Silverstone a couple of weeks ago. Nathan in 2nd, Montana in 3rd. The more that these guys fight, though, the more that Nathan holds these guys up, or certainly holds Montana up, the more that Verstappen's going to come into play. And do not rule out Verstappen, of course. A race winner last season or the season before in Spain, if I'm not mistaken. And Verstappen will be hoping to try and latch onto the back of Nathan. And if he keeps Montana in behind for a few more laps, Verstappen's going to be on the back of him very hard, probably within the next 2 or 3 laps.
Yeah, Montana's just going to get more and more frustrated because he knows Nathan's just doing this for the stream time. I mean, for the challenge. And he's going to see that red flashing light, and there's absolutely no reason for Nathan to stay ahead. And Montana's just going to see Verstappen closing up on him, and Valtteri at the moment, actually. He's not too far behind, and he's ahead of Daniel and Yulmimat now, who are on older tyres and with penalties.
Jensen has spun once again, coming through 6 and 7, so he is round once again. Here comes Montana, though, on the back of Nathan. Nathan has really got to channel his inner Fernando Alonso here as Montana will come onto the back. He'll dummy him to the inside line. There he goes. There's the Alfa Romeo. Nathan does not want to fight that whatsoever. However, he tries to get him on the brakes, but Montana never outgun Montana, is all I can say with that. Montana is through, and he's into 2nd position. In the end, quite easy.
Yeah, he went left and he swung right onto the inside. I don't think I've ever seen Montana do that famous move before.
I think he's done it in every single race. Ruta was round, coming out of 10-14, so Ruta is round, coming out of 10-14, out of the kink of 15 as well. And Ruta now has spun down into P8, and what is it with these relentless guys spinning? Ruta down now into P8. Connor, run on the back of Nuff, though, just in behind. The McLaren on the back of the Haas, and this should be the easiest move you'll ever see all night. Connor to the inside line, absolutely sails past Nuff. And Connor is through, and he's into P9. Or is he? Because Nuff is right on the back of him. But Connor's ahead into P9.
So, you remember at the start I was saying about Rocco and how he makes places in the race just due to being careful. And he's on right now for a podium. He's on for 3rd place. Daniel is in provisional 3rd. And he has a penalty. If Rocco keeps things the way they are, he's at 3rd place from absolutely nowhere.
He has, and it's going to be really good to see, I think, Rocco towards the top end. I mean, Yul Memat's just nearly made a mistake in front of him. This is Rocco's chance to act, and this is Rocco's chance to get onto the back of him, just force him under a bit of sense of falsehood, really. Out on track, nearly losing it, coming through 10, 10, 11, yeah. Nearly losing it through an 11, 12, and yeah, Yul Memat has got to pit. Those rears look absolutely shot on that car. Nathan has lost position, however, to Verstappen. I think that was a let-through there for Verstappen.
Rocco's going to soar past him now.
P3. Yeah, Rocco's going to fly past Yul Memat, and he's through, and he's into P6.
Yeah, Rocco is really showcased exactly what we were talking about before. We've seen so many drivers make mistakes, and if the mistakes were gone, we don't know where Rocco would be, but it's just a bit of intelligence sometimes can go a lot further than a bit of pace.
Yeah, a lot of intelligence, I think, from Rocco. He's recently acquired himself a new girlfriend on Love Island, of course, and it's good to see him racing here in P6 tonight.
That's 2. That's 2 times he's done that now.
Yeah.
2 Love Island jokes.
2 Love Island jokes, and I was voted...
He's not taking any liberties, is he?
No, I was voted the commentator of the season last season. I don't think I'm going to go for it for 3rd season in a row, to be honest. But there we are. Ruta is in P7, Connor in P8. Nuff now on a fresh set of hards. He's behind Connor, and Nuff has showed very, very good pace. I was commentating on him in a race in Belgium last week, and Nuff has got very, very good pace. He can probably outdo Connor and Ruta quite easily, I think, if he's got this pace.
Yeah, especially with his ERS. He's got much fresher tyres. He's got nearly 60% extra ERS. He's been really well. He had a poor start to the race, didn't he? I think he made a mistake. Yeah. And then since then, he's really put the pressure on.
Yeah, he is putting the pressure on, and it's good to see as well, because Nuth, of course, is a brand new driver into Division 1 this season. Nuth will be hoping to try and outgun Connor. Of course, 7 tenths per second the gap over. Jensen, by the way, is retired coming into the pit lane. I can't believe it. We're halfway through. We're halfway through this race, and it's Izza who leads the way. Montana in second, Verstappen in third. Izza still yet to pit. Nathan's still yet to pit there in fourth. Everyone else has came in at least once. Nuth, though, on the back of Connor. I'm just keeping on board with this, because I know for a fact he's probably going to try and look for the move. However, I think he's way too far back. He should be about 3 or 4 tenths coming off the exit of turn 13 on the back of the car ahead, and he's not. He's more than 6 tenths ahead, 6 tenths ahead of Nuth is Connor, and Connor remains in P8 for now, as Nathan has finally decided to come into the pit lane.
Yeah, and you were just talking about Nuff, and I think one thing Nuff probably will take into account now is he's got 7 lap fresher tyres, which is going to be massive towards the end of the race.
At this stage in the race, it's going to be, what, 30-35%, I think, better off than Connor's tyres?
Yeah, especially at the end as well. The tyres are so hard. I think Connor pitted a lap earlier as well.
I hate to mention this, Nathan's just spun out the pit lane.
Oh!
And he's lost 8 seconds.
I don't think this is a race Nathan wants to remember from the self-proclaimed China King.
Yeah, the China King, of course, last season, in Season 5, he won around here. How things and times absolutely change on the new game. He's down in 10th position, but he's behind Justas actually. He's got fresher tyres than Justas. He can get those tyres to the end. Justas might have to make another pit stop, I think, because if he tries to make 16 laps, 16 laps on a set of mediums really won't work. Those tyres are going to be shot, what, 25, 26 laps in?
Yeah, I think we saw him earlier. Is he the one that, I think he pitted for 2 softs at the start of the race. So I'm not quite sure what his strategy is at the moment, but maybe he's just hoping to showcase some pace to save his D1 spot, which obviously he doesn't have to do anyway. We all know how fast he is, but it doesn't seem like he's racing for track position anymore, and more just to showcase some pace.
Speaking of traitors, by the way, Rocco's right on the back of Daniel, running down in towards turn number 1, and Rocco right on the back. He looks to the outside line, try and cut on the inside line in towards 2, and he is close enough to try and get a move done on Daniel. Of course, both of these are teammates. They're not technical teammates, because none of the tiers and none of the divisions have actually been decided in League of Europe. I think that's going to be awarded, of course, after the second race, and that'll be done via a live stream, I'm imagining. Daniel, though, has got really good pace, or normally has got really good pace. Rocco looks like he's in the element. He's in the zone, and now he's on the back of Daniel. He can hone in on that Red Bull ahead, and I wonder if we're going to see scenes maybe Verstappen, Ricciardo-esque, Baku?
I hope not, because I do like Rocco. Bear in mind, obviously he did do the scummiest of scumbag moves. I do like him, but he has been sitting on 2 warnings for quite a while now, and I just wonder whether he's probably going to take it a bit careful. He's got Daniel on track position anyway. If it stays like this, he's got 3rd. Rocco's the type of driver where I think he'll know that and will choose just to sit behind him.
Yeah, he normally does sit in behind drivers and just put them into a little bit of try and force them basically into a mistake. And Rocco, I think, is doing that. He's just backed off slightly, 0.5 tenths of a second down into the braking zone. But look at him, he's very hard on the brakes, and he can look to try and get the move done. Daniel can make mistakes when he's under pressure. We've seen it before, last season in Season 5. Rocco right on the back of Daniel, but Daniel, P4, Rocco in P5. It looks like somebody's just joined the lobby, actually, if I'm not mistaken. Izzo, by the way, is coming up behind Rocco.
Yeah, he's come out on the mediums. I think he made a mistake earlier on, didn't he? And that's cost him. But still on the mediums now, he could pressure Rocco, and Rocco will all of a sudden be wanting to get past Daniel as fast as he can. He's got 5 laps fresher tyres, and you kind of want that little gap of Daniel behind him, hoping he can keep Izzy behind for a bit.
And look at how far he's actually ahead of Ruta as well. He must be, I would say, about 7 seconds ahead of Ruta at this stage, which is impressive, I think, from Izza. It comes to show that the overcut actually works around this track, because remember, he was theoretically behind these guys at one stage in the race, and Izza really impressing at this stage. He's in P5 on a set of mediums. I think he's going to get both of these Red Bulls done in 2 laps.
I mean, I don't want to say that I predicted a Montana Verstappen is a podium, but I kind of did.
Gary, you're gone out of Division 1, I think. We've got the ultimate king of predictions here. Mike Holcomb, Sector 2, spin, Nathan. All I'm saying. Rocco's run on the back of Daniel, running down in towards turn number 14. And this is where Rocco's time is for attack. He looks to the inside line. Daniel is not going to come across though, and I don't think he's going to try and fight this too hard. Rocco down the inside line. Daniel gave him plenty of room, plenty of space. Good move there by Rocco. He's up into third. He can now try and close on Verstappen, who must be about 12, 13 seconds ahead. As
Daniel
actually
almost went sideways then.
Nearly went sideways. My goodness me, that was a bit of heart and mouth moment, I think, from Daniel's perspective down in P4. And again, he spins on the inside curb, and Izza absolutely sends that down the inside line. Free position for Izza. He is through and he's into P4. Corner right on the back of Ruta. Nathan's spun again. What's not... Well, actually, no. Who has spun? Alba has spun. Coming through turn number 13. On the exit of 13, that seems to be catching everyone out tonight.
Yeah, it's a lot of people, we're seeing people do it, and I wonder whether they're just not picking up on what they're spinning on. I don't know why everyone's trying it, but Rocco, going back to that, will not have wanted to see Izza going past Daniel. He kind of had to bank on Daniel holding him up for a bit, and it's looking like now that Izza's on for a podium. Relentless taking a podium off an ex-Relentless traitor? I'm just saying.
He's just saying, listen up! Oh, I thought he was going to go into the back of him there. Izza on the back of Rocco, very, very late on the brakes, and now the Alpine is going to absolutely sail on by the Red Bull, you would imagine. 43% of DRS, that's going to be used up. He might even overtake him, maybe for the DRS zone. He's not. Now he uses the DRS. Now he pulls out to the inside line, and Izza is going to sail on by on Rocco. And how Nolan would like that. Izza through, and he's into P3. Rocco into P4. Connor right on the back of Ruta, by the way. It might not be smiling for too long, because Connor now to the outside line. NSX against Relentless. And it is the NSX man of Connor who has got on top. Into P6 he goes. North was steaming there, late on the brakes in behind. Nearly caught onto the back of Ruta, but Connor is through and he's into P6.
Yeah, it's a very good recovery drive from Connor, actually. We've not paid too much attention to him, but he did make a big mistake early on, and he's found himself back up into 6th. He's done really well, actually, to pull himself back up and show just how fast he is.
Yeah, and remember, actually, he crashed out of qualifying very early on. And he was second before he crashed out. And Connor has done very, very well, I think, to recover in this race, which is really good to see. Further down the field, Alphatrix has just gone out. I was about to commentate on a battle between Nathan and Alphatrix, but Alphatrix has now lost it out of the final corner, and that now means he is out of the race. 5 DNFs around China. This is slowly becoming a war of attrition.
We saw him do the same thing in qualifying as well. He was on for a really good lap and then binned it on the final corner. It seems to be the last corner and then the corner just before the straight that is really catching people out.
And what's handy actually is, one of them's a right-handed corner, one of them's a left-handed corner, so it just comes to show how much these setups have changed from game to game. 2020, you could run any sort of setup, to be honest. 2021, more defined setups, and I think that's what drivers will realise going in towards next week for the second pre-season race. That's what drivers will realise. Ruta, however, on the back of Connor, is he going to try and come steaming at Connor? Look at the speed, look at the closing speed on the back of the Alpine. I don't think he's going to go for this move, the German. I don't think he is, and Connor stays in P6 for now.
Yeah, the interesting thing about this battle is we have got Nuff right behind him on much fresher tyres, who's just going to be looking at this, waiting for an opportunity to maybe gain 2 places, and what a race that would be for him if he could find himself in 6th.
Yeah, it'll be fantastic, and of course he's got 7 lap fresher tyres than Ruta and Connor ahead, which is going to be the biggest advantage of them all. Further down the field, by the way, a battle going on. Neo, I think, has got them moved on vaporizers, so XL overtaking NSX for P12 and 13. NSX, of course, have not entered an EML this season, which is very disappointing from their perspective, but it would have been a nice fight to see. XL into P12, though, with Neo. Vaporizer now down in P13. Gap for the lead, by the way, 1.1 seconds. Montana's taken it a little bit easily, I think. 25% of ERS left. Verstappen has got about 7-8% less than him, and he's 1.2 seconds behind. Verstappen is in striking range distance if he's close enough, as Nuff has spun.
Oh, for dearie me. How many more people? And it's at the same place as well, and it's showing just how many people now. As I think there's been about 4 people on for a podium this race that have spun.
Yeah, which is unfortunate, I think, and that just comes to show the nature of these setups, the nature of this track as well. All of these guys still getting used to the game, of course. Might not be a necessary excuse, but it is still an excuse because the drivers are still picking up on different things as we come into the new game cycle. Jensen, by the way, in the comment section as Ruta closes up on the back of Connor. Don't think he's going to get the move done though late on the brakes. Connor stays P6 for now. Jensen saying, sound glitch. He had a sound glitch and it ruined the race, and he also had rear wing damage, so he couldn't continue.
I think I know what he means by the sound glitch. There's this awful glitch at the moment where it kind of sounds like you're stood inside the Monaco tunnel and you can just hear all the cars driving around all the time, and you can't hear your engine at all.
Vaporizer, the latest one to DNF. He's out of turn 13 on the left-hand side of the track this time for Vaporizer, and he is now out of the race, out of turn 13 as well. So, count up how many drivers have actually lost it coming out of turn 13 here tonight. And if you had some shots with you, you'll be drunk.
Oh, it's China bingo at the moment to see how many people are going to finish the race. Assuming Matt's got past enough now, and at the moment I can't predict what's going to happen in the race because we've got a few people in the medium strategy like Justas behind Wouter and Connor, and it just depends on when those mediums start to die, because Justas has to pit soon, you'd think.
Justas, yeah, on a set of mediums we saw in terms of the first stint, what, 12-13 laps I think drivers were making on average on that stint, and we're already towards the back end of that, so Justas will be hoping maybe to come into the pit lane. But even if he does, what does he rather risk? A puncture, either losing it out of a corner, or does he just try and go, maybe to fight with Ruta to the end of the race, but at the expense of his tyres? What does he decide to do?
I think at this point you have to pit. It's a social. He's going to go for the move on Ruta, actually, I think.
Oh,
he is, he's sending it.
Late down the inside line. Beautiful move, though. Justas through, and he's into
Really
P7.
well
We were riddling his tyres, but I tell you what, we've just been riddled, I think. Justas is through and he's into P7. Ruta, though, is not going to give this up without a fight. However, I think the Lithuanian has got too much pace down the straight, and the Aston Martin stays in P7 for now. Ruta in P8, and Ruta actually runs out wide as we ride on board with him through turn 1, through turn number 2. Connor, though, is going to be under so much pressure. Connor and Justas' tyres will probably be about the same tyre wear, I would say, at this stage.
Yeah, it's an interesting one now, because if he can keep a puncture from happening, Justas is probably going to be on the same page as them, and he's clearly really, really fast on the track. Connor's obviously a fast driver as well. It's going to be a really interesting last 2 laps, I think, because I think the last 2 laps, those mediums are going to be like ice skates. Yeah,
it's gonna. These next couple of laps are going to define how this race will pan out in terms of P6 to P8, and in terms of course, the rest of the positions as well out on track. Izza has not really made an impact, to be honest, on the back of Verstappen. It's 11.4 seconds. He's on a fresh set of mediums, but that is not a gap he will close before the end of the race. If he closes in 11.4 seconds before the end of the race of Verstappen, I'll quit commentary in Division 1.
It would have been. I think everyone would have debatable opinions on that. But I think at the moment it's interesting because he did have a spin, and if that didn't happen, it'd be interesting to see how it would have gone between him, Montana, and Verstappen. But Verstappen's not getting enough credit because he has drove really, really well and kind of under the radar a bit. But Montana's just now starting to pull away, and maybe just the smallest of differences, but that one extra lap that he did earlier on in the stint has helped him out, as Justas is now making the move on Connor going into turn 1.
Yep, down the inside line he goes. The Aston Martin, we catch on board with that a little bit late. Connor on the back though, and Justas is through. So Justas through into P6, and Neo and Nathan are going at it down into the hairpin at turn 14. This is for the wooden spoon out on track, but Neo and P11, Nathan and P12 excel against Relentless, and you know how you like to see this battle unfolding here in Lobby 1 in Technical Division 1. Nathan pulls to the inside line, runs adjacent to the pit wall. It's brave, it's bold, but it's brilliant, and Nathan is through and he's into P11. Neo now down into P12. Nathan runs out wide though, could give Neo a bit of a switch back on the inside line, and Nathan I think has left him too much room maybe to try and actually get this move done around the outside, but I think Nathan is just about holding on. Or is he? Because Neo is right on the back, but look at the D-rate, 6% ERS running down in towards turn number 6. He's D-rating down, and Nathan I think is just going to about hold on, but it's still not over and done with. Nathan, I think, I'm confident in saying now he's through and he's going to be heading towards P10, P11 I should say, coming in towards turn number 10.
Yeah, he's addicted to this stream time, isn't he? Something smells of scripted battling to me.
Terrible. Well, it is EA, so you know about scripting well and truly with these games. Nathan in P11, Neo in P12. Montana leads the way though. Verstappen in second, Izza in third. We have got 3 laps to go. Well, 4 laps to go, I should say, out on track. 3 laps, of course, after this one. Izza there in third, Rocco in fourth. Looking further down the field though, Justas's tyres are not going off. He's pulled 1.2 seconds over Connor, 3.3 seconds to Daniel. He's losing time to Daniel, but Justas is staying in around that sort of area as Wouter and Connor actually fight coming through turn 1, and Connor I think ran out wide there and made a mistake and Wouter's through.
Yeah, Justas, I think most people in this situation would not be able to do what he's doing on the mediums. I think he's really showcasing just how quick he is on this game and on previous games as well. But what he's doing on the mediums right now is really impressive.
Leo's back down the inside line of Nathan. Nathan nearly runs in towards Japan, but Nathan doesn't get the move done. Neo's through and he's into P11.
Well, it's good to see 2 people doing this at the end, isn't it? And not just leaving the race because they're so far behind. They're actually still showing what they can do, and this will probably both of them well going into the season because they've got that experience of battling.
Yeah, it gives the admins a good view, I think, as well, because drivers finishing the race, you'll know a lot more about them compared to drivers that either spin out of a race or tend to DNF in towards the pit lane, which is, I think, a Jamesy no-no out on track. You shouldn't really DNF out on track, unless, of course, you spin. But if you don't spin and you retire in the pit lane, that's just giving up, and you're not really giving the admins a full sense of what your capabilities are in any division in League of Europe.
Yeah, I guess what James is saying is if you're going to crash or fake a crash, make it look realistic at least, which is what Connor should have learned at Italy. But anyway, as we...
I don't think we're coming back from this one. Lap 26, Montana leads, Verstappen second, Izza in third, Rocco in fourth, Daniel in fifth. Look at the gaps though. The gaps are like washing lines essentially now out on track. It's only Nathan and Neo who are still battling. Nathan must have had about as much airtime as they get all season.
We have to thank Nathan and Neo for having this battle though, because everyone else due to spins are so spaced out now. This is the only action that we've got on track.
And now goes down the inside line. Nearly puts Neo out wide, in fact, into a bit of a mistake. And Nathan does not get the move done. Neo still in P11, Nathan in P12. I'm right on board though with the leader. There's Montana. 1.8 seconds the gap. Verstappen has kept that gap very consistent, I've got to say, over the last few laps. But Izza obviously is not gaining ground, and Verstappen will be very comfortable, I think, with him going forward into the second pre-season race next week. He has got what I think is the tools to try and challenge Montana.
Yeah, I think Verstappen has been really impressive in this because he's not really lost. I think he's lost about 6 tenths over the course of 10 laps, which for a driver like Montana is really well to keep that gap. And I think if the start was a bit different, I know Verstappen, I think did he lose the place early on, I think to Connor. If that wouldn't have happened, it would have been interesting to see how much he could have kept up with Montana. And if he'd have been inside his DRS, I think we could have had a really good battle for the win.
Yeah, I think it was Justas actually. Nathan spins once again. I think it was Justas that actually got the move done down in towards turn 1. He was on the outside line, obviously, of Montana, and Justas got the move done into Verstappen. And Verstappen obviously had to come back from that, and he's in P2. And it doesn't really reflect what I think has been a great performance, because Verstappen has done this really well. 1.8 seconds off the back of Montana, and it's not often you see 1.8 seconds to the back of Montana. So Verstappen has kept this really well. Obviously at everyone else's expense in terms of the spins and in terms of the battling that's been going on. Connor, however, on the back of Wouter. Are we going to get a final lap battle between Connor, once of course of CPI, and Wouter, once of course of F1 Esports fame?
Well, I'll give you a good start to show just how well Verstappen's done here. The last 3 laps he has done has been better than Montana's. He has been keeping pace with Montana for the last 8 or so laps. There's been 1 lap where he lost a lot of time, and other than that, he's been the exact same pace.
Yeah, I think Montana obviously saving up a bit of ERS as well as we go on to the final lap of the race. Nathan, by the way, is going to try and go for fastest lap attempt. Luckily, he's came out ahead of Montana to do that. So, we're going to be waiting until Christmas until Nathan comes home, it seems. Montana, though, leading the way. Verstappen in second. And actually, Verstappen has spun. Verstappen has spun coming through turn number 1. There's no puncture on the car. And he's spun coming through turn 1. And now Izza has got a chance, a very slight chance albeit, to try and get the back of Verstappen. Verstappen, I think, has been told, of my comment earlier on, if Izza doesn't catch him, I'm quitting Division 1.
Yeah, the thing is with Verstappen now, them tyres are already worn. They're going to be hot as well from that spin.
Oh, Daniel's off. Daniel off as well,
What
coming
is
through
happening?
turn 2. Everyone's losing it through turn 2. These tyres are now really beginning to go. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a puncture.
Montana's going on turn 13. Here we go. He's going to spin it.
Well, here he is. He's on the back of... That is Nathan, of course, ahead of him. And there is Montana out on track, coming through the second sector split. Now coming through in towards the final couple of corners, through turn 13.
Aww.
And unfortunately for you, he takes it absolutely fine. And Montana on his way to dominate Lobby 1 here tonight and make his intentions clear. He's already weaving down the straight. He is so confident. And Montana, through turn number 14, the three-time League of Europe champion, is back with an absolute bang here in Lobby 1. Through the final corner in China, Montana towards the line. An absolute domination performance from Montana, and he takes the win in China. A fantastic, fantastic result. Verstappen is going to hold on to second. You've got another week of me in Division 1 at least. Verstappen takes across the line in second. Izza, really good drive in third. I think he ran out of fuel at the end of the race there slightly. Izza a little across the line in third. Rocco has got to come across the line to finish in fourth. There is a spinner. That's Connor, caught up in an instant with Ruta out of the exit of turn number 14. Rocco across the line in fourth. Justas in fifth. Daniel in sixth. He's going to be outdone by Ruta to the line here with the penalties. Connor coming across the line to finish in P8. He's also run out of fuel across the line. You'll Melmat to come across the line to finish in P9. He might get outdone by the penalties as well, because Nuth hasn't got any. Nuth through the final corner. Very unlucky, I think, from his perspective in terms of his race. Watch out for him going forward in the season to finish in P10. Neo to finish across the line in P number 11. And then we wait until Christmas to Nathan to come home.
Yeah, we're going to wait for him to... He's going to be on for fastest lap and he's going to spin it last corner. That's my prediction. Oh, he's low on fuel as well.
He is low on fuel. Let's hope he doesn't run out of fuel before the line, because this is the fastest lap attempt that he's trying to do, and he's trying to show, I think, to all of us that he has actually got the pace to try and put himself up there once again in
Here
China
we go.
as we go into
spin.
the real
Last
season.
corner spin. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Perfect.
Oh.
Never in doubt. Never in doubt. And the fastest lap. Yeah, fastest lap. I think it was a 1:30.6, if I'm not mistaken, from Nathan across the line. And that is the end. Driver of the day is awarded by the in-game fans. I have a feeling it might be one person in particular. It's Izza.
Yeah, it's a really good drive for Izza. He made a mistake as well, I think, in the first 10 laps or so, and he clawed it back. I think probably got helped by everyone else making a mistake pretty much, but I think the main showing from this is Verstappen and Montana. The gap obviously shows it's a lot different to how most of the race went. They weren't just quick, but they were really consistent.
Yeah, Montana to the top step of the podium here, of course, in pre-season race 1, in Lobby 1, and the domination is back. Will he continue that going into pre-season race 2? Well, you will have to tune in next week and find out, of course. And I will say this, we are going to do driver interviews as we come towards the first race of the season. However, of course, it's pre-season. I don't think these guys will want driver interviews, but it sets the precedent of what is going to be a fantastic season ahead. It's Montana out on top from Verstappen in second. Izza in third, drove really well, I think, from my perspective. Rocco in fourth, came under the radar. Justas in fifth. Ruta came back well as well in sixth. Daniel in seventh. Connor in eighth. Melmat in ninth. Nuth, the unluckiest driver, I think, on the grid to finish in P10 after that spin. Neo in P11. Nathan with the fastest lap with a 1:30.6 in 12th. And then the DNF begins. Vaporizer, Alphatrix, Alba, Jensen, Leonard and Yulbream all out of the race. 2 Ferraris DNFing, but Montana out on top. Verstappen second, Izza in third. Montana once again dominates, and this sets a really good precedent for the rest of the season.
Yeah, it's looking really interesting in Division 1. Not only just the title battle, which I hope someone can step up to Montana this year. It's not just another dominant display, but the fight from second downwards is going to look really tasty.
It is going to look really tasty, and hopefully you are going to be tuning in same time, same place next week on League of Europe's channel. But of course, if you are willing to stay for an extra 20 minutes or so, we've got more action to come For you at 8:10 is Division 2, Division 5 and Division 6, and I will tell you, because I saw in the commentators chat, who was going to be commentating on each one. Obviously you had myself and Nolan doing Division 1. For Division 2 you're going to have Verstappen and Jekyll taking you through the action for Division 2. For Division 4, hang on, I've got myself mixed up. It's Sam Thompson and Jess for Division 5. Fantastic to see Jess in the commentary box. And the all-XL teammates of Tin Can and Matthias taking you through Division 6 action later on tonight. But hopefully, really, really good action from the whole entire lobbies that we've had so far tonight. More to come, of course, at 8:10. Tune in on the League of Europe channel. But Nolan, I'm going to come across to you for your final thought and for your overall driver of the day, and I'm expecting no bias towards Relentless.
You know what? Right, so I want to give it Izza, but I'm going to give it Rocco, just based off what he does with the pace he has is ridiculous. I think he shows off consistent results, even if he's not the fastest at the track. But overall thoughts of the actual race, I think first of all, Division 1 is sweaty and disgusting, and I wish I never reached that point in my career. But I think it's going to be really interesting, especially with Campbell, who couldn't make it this week. Him and Yer are going to be a really interesting team to watch because they're both extremely quick.
They are extremely quick. And a bit of information as well from Larkin in the Discord. And I'm going to repeat this on the Division 1 stream now. Please do not retire on track in the pits during the pre-season races. Even if you're at the back, we can still see your pace on stream, and this is very helpful. People who retire from the race and give up may not receive a seat for the actual season. So, instead of making it intra-wall attrition, and instead of trying to spin the car and obviously ending up DNFing out the race, try your best. Even if you're a lap down, it's going to give the drivers and it's going to give the admins a really good sense of what is to come for Division 1 and for all of the divisions across League of Europe this season, moving forward for Season 6. And I think it's important to stress that you've got to do what you've got to do, because if you DNF obviously out on track, they do not get the full sense of what you can actually show out on track. So I expect, hopefully, less DNFs next week.
I hope so, and I think Abu Dhabi is also a challenging track. But I think with China, a lot of people are still getting used to the game, and it's very difficult, especially with the curbs.
Yeah, very tricky indeed. 12 drivers in the end in finishing, but 8:10 is the time that you're going to be here for Division 2, Division 5 and Division 6 out on track. Me and Nolan will sign up for now, but thank you so much for joining me in the first place, Nolan. It's been fantastic to have you alongside me in the commentary box. You wouldn't think it was his first commentary in the main leagues.
Yeah, thank you for taking my commentary division. I think it was my F1 virginity that you're taking off me. Sadly, you'll have to downgrade to Gary next week, which I'm sure you'll all cry about, but you can enjoy this moment as a special rare occasion in your career. Possibly the best in your career, if you think about it. Might
be the best in my career for sure, but I'm sure when Gary returns next week, it's going to be business as usual, and, as I say, Gary is my co-commentator for Division 1. Daniel Field, of course, moving across to PC. He'll forever be missed, but I'm sure you'll tune in next week to all the pre-season races once again in Abu Dhabi. We cannot wait to see you there. But for myself and Nolan, please take care of yourselves in this crazy world that we all live in. For myself and Nolan, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.